ॐ रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेधसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीताय पतये नमः। ॐ आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम्। ॐ लोकाभिराम रघुरञ्जधीरं राजीवनेत्रं रघुवंशनाथं कारुण्यरूपं करुणाकरन्तं श्रीरामचन्द्रं शरणं प्रपद्ये। ॐ अतुलितबलधामं स्वर्णशैलाभदेहं दनुजवनकृशानुं ध्यानिनाम् अग्रगण्यं सकलगुणनिधानं वानराणामधीशं रघुपतिप्रियभक्तं वातजातं नमामि। ॐ शान्ति 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 हरि ओम। Namaskar and welcome to Hinduism in Focus. This program comes to you with kind compliments of Sanatan Vaidic Dharma, Pandits Sabha of Region 3. Today and for all subsequent discourses, we will be looking at some of the teachings and writings of a great scholar that we call Tulsidasa, who has documented and has written the largest poem ever, that is called the Tulsi Ramayana or the Ramcharitamānasa. In this poem, in which he makes God, Shiva, a mouthpiece, that this story or these writings are being related to Parvati, using all these strategies of poetry, and the stories and the teachings are based on important truths of the Vedas that are supreme guides for man's elevation into godhood, or what we call liberation or moksha. And so in many of the analogies also in Tulsidasa's writings, he sought to use the simple things of the external world to make analogies so that we can use them as inspiration for our upward growth towards godhood, or our ultimate goal of God realization that we call moksha. And so in the beginning chapter of Tulsidasa's writings, he spoke about some important lessons of life. For example, in his first chapter, that is called the Balkanda, or the childhood chapter of the poem of the Ramcharitamānasa, he wrote things that will outline to us the challenges of this physical world and how one must be steadfast in order to surmount all these challenges to ultimately grow into the divine image of God, to grow into godhood. This has been the sole purpose of Tulsidasa's writing, is to assist you and I along this religious or spiritual path. And so he wrote in some of the verses that the assemblage of saints, which is the joy and cause of happiness, is the great Tirtha, Prayag, endowed with motion, moving from one place to the next place, spreading God's teachings. Faith in God is as the stream of the Ganga, the habit of contemplation on the Absolute as Saraswati. Now Tulsidasa, what he is doing, the Hindus have the tradition of honoring these great rivers that we call Yamuna, Saraswati and Ganga, and we have given many legends surrounding them, and the tradition has been we attach sacredness to all of these places. But Tulsidasa, on a philosophical level, tells us that these rivers are not necessarily the physical rivers, but rather they are operations that take place within our own lives. They are movements and flow that actually happen in this human life, especially on our path to God realization. So two things among many are important in this verse of Tulsidasa, in that he says the assemblage of sages or saints who are God realized people is the root of all joy and the cause of happiness. Each person in his life desires happiness and joy. But Tulsidas is pointing out that only where these good intentions prevail, where good thoughts allow to be entertained, there is where joy and happiness lie. Coming to this fact, Tulsidas is also pointing out that happiness and joy depends upon the thoughts and our whole behavior and approach to life, the things and the way we approach ourselves from within. That we are told this Atman, this life principle that we call soul, that dwells inside of us and that remains within this flesh until the flesh becomes weakened. It has to leave, and that leaving we call it death, and so the body is being destroyed. But this eternal power, this life principle of soul, does not die, does not come to an end. It is eternal, and within this life principle dwells all happiness and dwells all joy. And it is like the assemblage of good people. It is the assemblage of the saints. When we talk about saints in our preceding discourse, we said that the sage life is like the cotton plant. It is free from all form of ignorance. That is, it is Vishada. The saint is Vishada. And the saint is also Nirasa, free from emotional attachment. And the sage is Gunamaya, full of goodness. All of these goodness, this knowledge and non-attachment dwells within this life principle. Therefore, the life principle, which is the root of joy and happiness, exists inside of us, and to search for happiness outside of us is not eternal. It is not bound to give success. If at all it brings happiness, it is only temporary. But eternal happiness lies deep within the core of our being. And this is what Tulsidasa is pointing out in this verse. In fact, he says that this joy and this happiness is like a great tirtha or prayag, which is endowed with motion, moving from place to place, spreading God's teachings or God tidings. That is, prayag is referred to as a holy place. And tirtha, so Tulsidasa is moving from the physical place of prayag that we know in India, etc., and telling us that all of these things that we seek to identify and relate to the physical world really exists within us, that we ourselves are a composite world. This universe is actually within us. We by ourselves is the universe, because all potentialities and all great discoveries are made within our own lives. This is what Tulsidasa is pointing out in this Ramayana. In fact, he says that tirtha, and the word tirtha refers to a pool, or what we say, a body of water that keeps moving. It's a tirtha. So he says that this joy and happiness, which is like the assemblage of saints that dwells within us, dependent on our state of mind, our attitude in life, and our thoughts that we entertain, that it is like a great tirtha, a moving flow of water, and this flows with great motion that is moving from place to place. And what it does, it spreads God tidings, God teachings, and that, he says, assists us in our journey to moksha, to God realization. So Tulsidas is telling us, therefore, that spreading of God tidings, teachings of God, glories of God, is in our capacity to do, and by doing that, we are actually our life becomes a moving Prayag, a holy place that moves. It becomes a tirtha. It keeps flowing all the time, spreading the teachings of the Lord, glorifying God, becoming more God conscious. And it is to this end that Bhagavan Sri Krishna also points out in the 18th chapter, verses 68 and 69 in Bhagavad Gita. Lord talks about the person who goes about his life like a tirtha. He keeps moving on in his spiritual evolution, and in doing so, he spreads the teachings of God. He spreads the glories of God. He spreads all the attributes of God, and he encourages mankind along this path of Godhood. What Lord says in verse 68 of chapter 18 of Gita, he is only validating all that Krishna, all that Ramayana has says. Krishna validates these things. Lord says, Sri Bhagavanu Vacha Ya imam paramam guhyam Mad bhakteshva vidhasyati Bhaktim mai param kritva Mame vaishyatya samshayaha. Lord says that he who, offering the highest love to me, preaches the most profound gospel of the Gita, God's teachings, among my devotees shall come to me alone. There is no doubt about it. Lord gives this reward of he who goes about using his life to spread the glories of the Lord as a form of love. In fact, Lord says, offering the highest form of love to me, that such a person shall come to me alone. It means that we are guaranteed realization or moksha because we are also assisting mankind in traversing along that path. And Tulsidasa is saying when we do that, it is like a moving tirtha, it's a prayag, a pilgrimage that we go upon. Our life becomes tirtha. It becomes a flow of constant glories of God, a flow of positivity, a flow of good attributes, attitudes, and our whole approach to life become divinized, and God and great things take place. And by doing that, we are also spreading this glory of God. So our life becomes a moving temple. It becomes a moving place of worship. And by doing that, we are actually surrendering ourselves to divine power, which is God. So all these things are coming in a composite form for our elevation. This is how great these writings are. And Lord Krishna has also validated what is being written here. So I urge all of you to let us commit ourselves to this great and noble path, and let us continue to make our life a tirtha, a moving temple that flows and that glorifies and recognizes the glories of the divine Lord. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om.